is up, party people? So we are hanging out in Matthew. We're in chapter 20, and we just got done with the parable of the laborers in the vineyard in the last video, and talking about how people were hired at different times, but their wages were all the same, and the master of the house, the master of the vineyard, came out and rebuked them for telling them that he's not allowed to do what he wants with his generosity, or being, getting a little fresh about it. So then Jesus foretells his death a third time right after that. And so it says, as Jesus was going up to Jerusalem, he took the 12 disciples aside, and on the way he said to them, "See, we are going up to Jerusalem. The Son of Man will be delivered over to the chief priests and scribes, and they will condemn him to death and deliver him over to the Gentiles to be mocked and flogged and crucified, and he will be raised on the third day." So again, Jesus is reminding the disciples about his death a third time here. And it's interesting because Jesus' most commonly used name for himself is Son of Man. And so in this video, actually, later on when we get through it, there's going to be an interesting thing that happens with, what people call Jesus, like what names they have for him. So in verse 20, the mother of the sons of Zebedee came up to him with her sons. Kneeling before him, she asked him for something. And he said to her, "What do you want?" She said to him, "Say that these two sons of mine are to sit, one at your right hand and one at your left, in your kingdom." Jesus answered, "You do not know what you are asking. Are you able to drink the cup that I am to drink?" They said to him, "We are able." He said to them, "You will drink my cup, but to sit at my right hand and at my left is not mine to grant, but it is for those for whom it has been prepared by my Father." And when the 10 heard it, they were indignant at the two brothers. But Jesus called them to him and said, "You know that the rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, and their great ones exercise authority over them. It shall not be so among you, but whoever would be great among you must be your servant, and whoever would be first among you must be your slave. Even as the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many." So right after telling them, look, I'm about to be turned over and crucified, they think, we're going here. He says he's establishing a kingdom. And again, it seems as though the mothers of James and John, sons of Zebedee, are coming up to Jesus to say, "Hey, make my sons great in the kingdom that's to come." Jesus again says, you don't get it. He's just told the disciples, right? So they were probably, talking to their mother about this at some point, and just there's a misunderstanding about what that even means. Even as the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many. So I think it's funny that he asks, "Are you able to drink the cup that I'm about to drink?" And again, God's wrath is likened to a cup, and this sovereign plan that Jesus is approaching is likened to a cup. And in the Garden of Gethsemane, when Jesus is praying, he says, "Let this cup pass from me." But I think this symbolism of a cup is very important here, because the crucifixion, God's wrath, and all of these things, we often think that if we're sinners and God is sovereign, that it's his fault that we're sinners anyway, right? So shouldn't he just rescue us because it's his fault that, he's the cause of our sin? I don't think that's the case at all. Just like in the Garden of Eden, the fruit is there, but it's not up to them. Like, it's not up to God. God doesn't take the fruit and shove it in their mouth. They eat the fruit willingly. And we take the cup of wrath, and we drink from it willingly. And there's also God's sovereign plan. Jesus says that the way of following him is not easy. It's take up your cross and follow me. It is not an easy life to follow Jesus. People will not understand it. You'll be scorned and made fun of and all different kinds of things. People will not respect the decisions that you make, and it's a completely different standard you live by, so people don't understand this. And when you choose to do that, it's like drinking from a cup, because it's there. And you pick it up and you drink from it, right? It's not a cup that somebody's forcing down your throat. So I think that's an important part of the symbolism there. And then Jesus, the Son of Man, identifies as the Son of Man. Why doesn't he identify as the Son of God? Why is it the Son of Man? Why is that his preferred name to call himself? So as they went out of Jericho, a great crowd followed him, and behold, there were two blind men sitting by the roadside. When they heard that Jesus was passing by, they cried out, "Lord, have mercy on us, Son of David." The crowd rebuked them, telling them to be silent, but they cried out all the more, "Lord, have mercy on us, Son of David." And stopping, Jesus called them and said, "What do you want me to do for you?" They said to him, "Lord, let our eyes be opened." And Jesus in pity touched their eyes, and immediately they recovered their sight and followed him. Now I think, again, this is kind of, this is a miracle, and it's a physical manifestation, but it's also highly symbolic here. I mean, as they went out of Jericho, right, a place that was overtaken by God's sovereign plan. There was not a hand laid against the wall. God destroyed Jericho's walls, and the Israelites rush in because of the opportunity. God provided the opportunity for Jericho to fall to Israel. And there's a great crowd following him. And there are two blind men sitting by the roadside. And when they heard that Jesus was passing by, they cried, "Lord, have mercy on us. Lord, have mercy on us." So there, again, it's a humble cry. "Lord, I know that you are able to have mercy on us. Please have mercy on us, Son of David." And so this would have, the Son of Man and Son of David are both terms used for the Messiah, because the Messiah was to come from David's line, where the kingdom will always be established. There will always be a king from David's line on the throne. And when Jesus came, he came to establish himself as the final king of David's throne. And so the crowd's rebuking them. Now, why would the crowd rebuke them? I think about this quite a bit. The crowd would have been... Jesus is telling the disciples now that he's on his way to be crucified. He has a tremendous following of people that are basically a Jesus mob. These people that are following Jesus around, listening to his preaching. They're following him as a teacher. If there weren't a lot of people following him, the Romans and the religious leaders wouldn't have cared. But it's partly because of this huge crowd that they're doing this. And the crowd is rebuking these men, calling him Son of David. Why is that? They're speaking this as if they're saying, "Hey, Lord, have mercy on me, Son of David. We know you're the Messiah. Please have mercy on us. We know you can do these things." And the crowd's going nuts. Why are they? And I think that there's a couple reasons that they could be. But one of them, I think, is the fact that they know the Pharisees and Sadducees are not having fun with Jesus' ministry. They're not enjoying it. Jesus has been calling them out. And I think the crowd knows that they're onto him and about to get serious about this stuff. Like, it's not... I think when we think about it, you'd have to kind of put yourself in that place a little bit. And I don't want to read too much into it, right? But at the same time, this would have been a huge movement. And being in that time and place, there would have been a certain tension, I'm sure, around the city in Jericho as they're leaving with this huge crowd of people. And to call this kind of attention on Jesus at this time, I think the crowds would be upset about that. But Jesus asked, "What do you want me to do for you?" That's an interesting question. What do you want me to do for you? How can I serve you? What is it that you're asking? It's two things at once, really. It's Jesus saying, "What is it? How can I serve you?" And it's also him asking a kind of a loaded question. What is it that you actually want? And they said to him, "Lord, let our eyes be opened." And again, they're blind men, so there's a physical element here. Obviously, they want to see. But there's also the element in which when Jesus transforms our heart, that we see right from wrong, we see the light. Right? By having good eyes, the body is filled with light. And so I think it's symbolic. I think it's intentional. Jesus didn't come to heal everybody, right? He didn't heal every single person that was brought to him. It doesn't say that. He healed a lot of people. It says they laid him at his feet and he healed a lot of people, but he didn't heal everybody. And I think that this story made it in here because it's intentional and it's symbolic. That Jesus came to be a servant. And he asks, what do you want from me? And if we respond to that call, that initial call of Jesus to say, what is it that you want me to do for you? And we answer with something pure and good, then it's going to be granted. Right? That is the transformation of our heart. If we're truly seeking to worship God and to be drawn into his sovereign plan, then there's no way our prayers can't be answered. Right? And so Jesus in pity touched their eyes, and immediately they recovered their sight and followed him. And I think that's an important part too. They followed him. So that's chapter 20. We'll be heading into chapter 21 next, the triumphal entry. Things kind of slow down a little bit with that, but it's such an exciting, dense section. We have 8 more chapters, basically, 21 through 28. So very excited about that. Let me know down in the comments what you thought about this section. If there's something that stood out to you, or something that you really want to dig into, or you like digging into, or something that you just thought was interesting. And like and subscribe to catch all these videos as they're coming out. And I'll be praying for you. I hope that you're involved in a local church and in a local Bible study. If not, please get involved in that or start one. It's just awesome. Anyways, that's what I've got for now. So I will catch you guys soon in the next video. All right. Until then, peace.